Good morning, everyone, and thank you for being here. I want to start by introducing and welcoming our state attorney, Susie Lopez. Madam State Attorney, thank you for being here. Thank you for your commitment to hold individuals accountable and prosecute those who want to continue to prey on others for profit when it comes in terms of our sex trade. Thank you for you and your office's commitment. The biggest obstacle that law enforcement faces is trying to get women or victims to try to trust law enforcement. And a big part of that is an organization called Selah Freedom. What we found over the past year since creating our human trafficking unit is Selah Freedom has been absolutely crucial in having conversations with these women and trying to convince them to have the courage to come forward and get the services, the help, the housing, everything that they rely on the trafficker for. These two ladies and their organizations step up and help us transition and have really helped us. When we talk about over the past year, our efforts that I'll highlight in a little bit, we've been able to rescue 8 women. Some of them children, and that wouldn't be done without the great work of Selah Freedom and Misty LaPerriere and Miss Sam Kolb. Thank you both. Thank you for you and your organization and the partnership that we share. I want to first begin by highlighting our concentrated efforts that started just before school let out. And there were several operations that we did, one Operation Bad Dad, and what we wanted to do and what our focus will always remain is by targeting the demand. We want to reduce the demand. We believe if we dry up the demand, there won't be human trafficking because no one will be able to profit a young child, a young girl or boy, or any adult, because there will be no demand for it. And that's what we continue to focus our efforts. So these 176 individuals that started with this several-month operation that we began before school let out and throughout the summer months was quite successful. The first focus that we wanted to target our efforts on was those individuals who wanted to prey on our children. So our undercover created a profile that he was a father wishing to traffic his 14-year-old daughter. We placed the ads on the web, even the dark web, and it is concerning that the response that we received was pretty overwhelming. And when you read the communication that these individuals wanted to do with these young boys, or they wanted to do with these young girls, it is repulsive. And I think one of the most disturbing individuals that I was able to see some communication that they had with our undercover is the individual was asking, can you reaffirm the age of your daughter? Yes, she's 14 years old. Thank you, she's too old for me. We then focused our efforts and turned it, as we, again, continue to focus our efforts on reducing the demand. We had our undercovers at a hotel. They would post an ad, anyone who wishes to purchase sex, please come to this hotel. We did this over several months. We did it at each corner of the county, throughout the county, in the city, again, trying to target individuals who wanted to purchase another individual purely for the profit of committing a sex act. Again, disturbing the number of individuals who wanted to come and purchase sex from our undercover female detectives. Matter of fact, sometimes the demand was so overwhelming that we had to go purchase a second and sometimes a third hotel room because they would all show up at once. But that is part of these 176 individuals. One case that I wanted to highlight, if I can find it here, I'm sorry with my big font, was Paul Trevosky, July 15th. Had to be one of the happiest days of Paul's life. Probably one of the happiest days in all of our lives. He got married. He got married and he was on his honeymoon. His new bride falls asleep and he decides, I'm going to respond to an ad to one of our undercovers have placed to go have sex that evening. So he leaves and comes to the hotel and wishes to purchase sex. Well, he was placed under arrest immediately. I know we all probably have questions about how long this marriage lasted, but I think the only question here is, with it ending so quickly, as a wedding guest, was it too late to get the gifts that they gave returned back to them? Over the past several months, we were able to rescue 2 women, and let me clarify that, 2 young women. One was a 16-year-old, one was a 17-year-old up in the North Tampa area. Their families and them are both from Massachusetts. The families were extremely concerned where they were, what they were doing, and contacted law enforcement up in the Massachusetts area and reported them as missing and endangered. We came into contact with them here. They were with 2 gentlemen, well, actually 3 gentlemen. 2 of them were the traffickers. Now, this is one of those cases that I would love to highlight because it just shows the tremendous effort by our human trafficking unit, but unfortunately I'm not able to. We have now teamed up with our federal partners, and we believe that these 2 individuals, these 2 men, are responsible for trafficking many more women. So at this time, when you have that, when you hear us say that this investigation continues, we can't say much more than that. This is truly one of those cases and exemplifies a time where I'm not able to say more without jeopardizing it, only have to highlight the effort of our human trafficking squad as they sit in the back of the room and unfortunately aren't able to be here in front of the camera to receive the recognition that each of them deserve. These are 2, a 16-year-old and a 17-year-old, who are on their way back to their parents where they belong, hopefully getting the services that they need instead of in the possession of 3 men who were trafficking them here in Tampa. I thought while we were here it was important, since the inception back in June 14th a year ago, just to highlight, take a quick moment and highlight some of the efforts that the Human Trafficking Squad has made, the impact that they have had on our community. From the inception until now, the reason that I decided to create a human trafficking unit is with a lot of the big events here in Tampa, WrestleMania, the National Championship, the Super Bowl, we knew that would bring people here searching to pay and engage in the sex trade. It became immediately clear when we did an operation after these events were gone that we still had the same number of individuals who wanted to purchase another individual for sex, that we had a human trafficking problem and we need to ramp up our efforts, to the point that I took a group of individuals along with some supervisors, and these are individuals who volunteered to combat the human trafficking trade. They wanted to eradicate human trafficking. And these are individuals who work nights, weekends, holidays to make sure that our children are safe, to make sure that another individual who is being trafficked, I hope they come in contact with us and we'll do everything we can to get them rescued from the grasp of a human trafficker. So since the inception of this squad over a year ago, they have made 360 arrests. And yes, that's important, 360 individuals. 360 individuals that we hope won't prey on another or traffic or engage in this sex trade that we have here in our county and throughout the state. Again, we highlighted the 176 individuals over this several-month operation, and that included several different operations. When we talk about eradicating human trafficking, when we talk about reducing the demand, there's several factors that go into that. And that's this unit monitoring the adult entertainment industry, massage parlors. We do the hotel motel operations. We do the streetwalker operations where our undercover is out and individuals believe that it's safer to purchase another for sex walking along the roadway than come into a hotel room. So there's multiple different angles. Along with our awareness, our education, obviously we're responsible for a large portion of the enforcement tool. And then working with our state attorney and our non-government agencies that give us such a tremendous hand in trying to rescue. It's been a successful year. It's been a great year. And the highlight of that year is 8 individuals over the past year have been rescued, and most of those juvenile victims. That's why we stand here and do what we do. At this time, I'll take any questions. Before I take questions, it seems like every single time we do one of these operations and we take a pause and highlight the efforts of the Human Trafficking Unit or what we're doing to eradicate human trafficking here in our community, I always give ample opportunity and ample warning to any individual out there who believes that they're in Hillsborough County and they're going to traffic another individual. for their pleasure and for profit, or you believe you're going to prey on our children, our detectives are too good at what they do. Please, I'm going to beg you one more time. If you want to traffic another for sex, if you want to purchase another individual for sex, or you want to prey on the children in our community, go to another county, because the odds are against you that your photo is going to be on one of these boards.
Sheriff Chronister, can you talk about the resources that are available to someone who may be a victim of human trafficking in our area?
Yeah, we're fortunate in this community, organizations like Sail of Freedom, and there's a few others that we team up with, that people are so generous, their people are so passionate. Anything from counseling to help with their addiction. A lot of the motivation that traffickers use is they get these young girls, or even women in general, even the young boys, they get them dope sick. And what I mean by that is they get them so addicted that the moment they start to become sober, they get absolutely physically sick beyond belief. So there's a lot of addiction treatment. There's a lot of mental health counseling that comes a part of that. Housing, intense therapy, and then gainful employment. I know some of them, and I have to share a story. We rescued a young boy from a burning house several months ago, and I would go to the hospital to visit him and his family. And the first time I pulled up to the valet and made arrangements to park my car there, and I get out, and there's a black female who ran up and hugged me, and she wouldn't let go. And I'm sitting there trying to figure out what is, okay, at least it wasn't a negative encounter, but I'm thinking, she's hugging me, and she got quite emotional, to where she couldn't compose her words probably for a couple minutes. And she wanted to thank me. She wanted to thank me for our efforts in human trafficking, that she was one of the women that we've rescued. And now she now works at the valet service out there, and she was talking about how Sail of Freedom saved her. She was talking about that she's only here because of their help, and that she likes to go back and talk to the women now, and that she wants to help out, and wanted my card so she could send me her information so she could help pay it forward. She reminded me that it's tough, that it's hard making ends meet, but every day she gets up and she fights it, and she couldn't be happier that she's finally the woman that she wants to be. Yeah, I don't know if I can say it's increased, but again, one person being trafficked is one too many for me. What we are seeing is a lot more individuals engaged in the sex trade and becoming traffickers, and here's the reason why. It's extremely profitable, and it's extremely difficult to prosecute. What I mean by that is a lot of victims, as dysfunctional as their relationship is, or children with the trafficker, they know they can depend on the trafficker for food, shelter, the basic essentials to feed their addiction. So a lot of times it's tough. It's tough for them to find the courage to come forward and testify against their trafficker. So a trafficker sees that they can maximize their profit, and that the risk versus reward is minimal. So I think we have more people engaged. I don't know if we're seeing it here in the Tampa area, but what we're seeing is more different criminal organizations getting involved. It's not just stepfathers, it's just not dads, it's just not ex-boyfriends. Now we're seeing some of the gang members. Some of the gangs are seeing the mandatory minimums that they deal with drugs or sticking a gun in someone's face. Why do that when they can traffic a young female, young impressionable female, maybe an 18-year-old who's aging out of the foster care program? Hey, you don't have anyone that cares for you? Come here. You want to party? You want to hang out? You can come with me. And we're starting to see that. And that's where we're focusing our efforts.
Any other questions?
Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful and safe day.